Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. For the past 2 months, a gang of safe burglars have been operating in your city. In that time, they've hit a dozen places. You've got no lead to their identity. Your job, get them. Here's a report never before made about a cigarette. Smoked day after day by a group of people smoking from 10 to 40 cigarettes a day for a full year. Here's Chesterfield's record. A medical specialist giving this group thorough examinations every 2 months for a full year reports no adverse effects to their nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like that? You'll find Chesterfields best for you. They're much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste. And for your pocketbook, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, August 10th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. We were on the way back from lunch, and it was 1:17 p.m. when we got to room 45. Burglary.
Joe, you got any stomach pills?
No, I haven't. You got trouble again?
Yeah. I don't know why I always do when we have lunch at Sal's. Must be that cheesecake, Joe. It happens every time.
Well, maybe if you just stick to one piece, huh?
And the way Rosie makes it, you can't stop there. You know, that Sal could make a fortune if he'd realize it.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how in some places they have a little bowl of mints by the cash register?
Yeah.
Well, if Sal had put a bowl of stomach pills, he could clean up.
Yeah, sure.
Anything in the book?
I'll take a look.
How about it?
Yeah. There's a call here from Ernie.
Our informant?
Yeah. Says he wants to see us this afternoon.
Say what it's about?
No, it just says to meet him at that coffee place over on 7.
Sure hope he can come up with something we could use it.
Yeah. Been taking a lot on this one, haven't we?
Yeah. The way the papers talk, you'd think we were in with the thieves.
Now, from where they sit, it probably looks that way. We sure haven't been able to stop them.
Yeah. You hear anything more on that last run from the stats office?
Yeah, nothing. They've run the M.O. over and over. We can't make it. I saw the skipper this morning. He's sore, too.
Yeah, it figures they're leaning on him, too.
Well, there's got to be a break somewhere along the line. Their luck can't hold out forever.
Maybe they don't know that.
Did you check the FI cards from last night?
Yeah, they're doing it now. They might come up with something. How about Rubles and Toll? You heard from them yet?
No, they're running down that report from the liquor store owner. Doesn't look like it's going anywhere either.
I'll get it.
Right.
Burglary, Smith. Oh, yeah. Did you find anything? Uh-huh. Where was that? Uh-huh. How do you spell that last name? S-O-N? Right. Okay, thanks. Well, we might have something.
Yeah?
Officer made a field interrogation report on an Otto Bronson last night. Time was listed as 10:46 p.m., 4th and Central.
Yeah, that's close.
The last heist was at 7th and Central at approximately 11 p.m.
Well, how's this Bronson fit in?
Well, they checked him out. He's got a record.
Yeah?
Burglary.
1:35 p.m. Frank and I checked the name Otto Bronson through R&I. We found that he had an arrest record dating back 10 years. He'd been picked up 3 times on suspicion of violation of Section 459 PC. He'd been convicted once and had served time at San Quentin. He'd been released 4 months before he served his full term and was not on parole. We got his last known address from his ex-convict registration, and we drove out to see him. The address listed was a rooming house on Alexandria Street. We talked to the landlady, but she could tell us nothing about him. She said that he'd moved in about 4 months before, and in that time she'd seen very little of him. He didn't eat at the house, but he took his meals outside. She was unable to tell us what time Bronson had come home the night before. He was registered in room 2B. Frank and I went up and knocked on the door.
Yeah?
You Otto Bronson?
Yeah, what about it?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Might be better if we talked inside, huh?
Well, maybe I don't want any cops in my place.
No, we can talk downtown.
Come on in. All right, what's it all about?
Wonder if you could tell us where you were last night.
Why?
We'd like to know.
Well, let's see. I went downtown, had dinner, met some friends, had a few drinks, and came home.
What time did you get home?
Oh, maybe about 8, around in there.
We got word you were seen downtown at 10:46. How about it?
Maybe my watch stopped.
Were you downtown?
Oh, you guys know all the answers. You tell me.
All right, mister, get your hat.
Why?
Let's go downtown.
All right. So I was there. What's that prove?
Why'd you lie about it?
I didn't lie. I told you. My watch stopped.
Yeah, according to the FI report, you were stopped on the corner of 4th and Central. Is that right?
I don't know. I guess so. Why?
What were you doing there?
I was on my way home.
From where?
Like I told you, I had a couple of drinks with some friends of mine. I came right home.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you meet these friends of yours?
Bar down Central.
Which bar?
I don't know the address. I can show you if you got to know.
Who were the friends?
Look, I don't like any of this. You guys coming here and asking all these questions. What's it all about?
A liquor store safe was burglarized near 7th and Central last night. You look good for the job.
Oh, it's sure true.
What's that?
Old saying up at the joint. Do a little time, and you'll have every cop in the world on your back at one time or another.
How long you lived here, Bronson?
Couple of months.
This the closet over here?
You stay away from there. There isn't anything in there that matters to you.
Then you shouldn't mind if we take a look.
Now, just keep your hands off of my stuff, huh?
If you haven't done anything, you got nothing to worry about, have you?
It isn't what I've done. It's what you guys are going to say I did.
How about this, Bronson?
That's mine. Hey, now, look, you got no right to go...
See what's in it, Frank.
Yeah.
Now, how about this, Bronson?
I never saw this before in my life. It's a frame you guys are trying to tie onto me. Well, it won't work, cops, and you know it won't.
How do you explain these two?
I don't have to. They belong to a friend. He asked me to take care of them.
How about this, Bronson?
Can't see, Joe. What is it?
Cutting torch. Looks like it's been used lately. 2:15 p.m. We searched the suspect's room. We found nothing further that would tie him in with the burglaries. We talked to the other people in the boarding house, but they couldn't give us any further information. They were unable to tell us if Bronson had any friends, and the landlady told us that he hadn't gotten any mail since he'd been there. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on the boarding house, and then we took the suspect downtown to the city hall. We talked to him for an hour, 4:16 p.m.
That's where you stand on this thing, Bronson. Now you make up your mind. You want to take the beef by yourself? You're going to tell us where you got the tools.
I've been telling you. I didn't know anything about the tools. I got them from a friend. He asked me to keep the suitcase for him as a favor. He asked me to keep them for him, and that's all I know.
Well, what's the friend's name?
Like I told you, it's a fellow named Shorty.
What's his last name?
I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell you. I got no reason to hold back on it. I didn't have nothing to do with the jobs.
Otto, we were talking to you about one burglary. What do you mean by jobs?
Well, just the way you guys talk, I figured there was more than one.
You know what we're talking about.
I don't. I'm telling you the truth. I don't.
When'd you last see this Shorty?
When he gave me the suitcase.
When was that?
A week, maybe 10 days ago.
Where'd you see him?
In a bar down on 7th.
And he just gave you this suitcase, asked you to take care of it for him? Is that what you expect us to believe?
That's the truth.
Well, that's kind of hard to
I
buy.
can't help that. That's the way it happened.
Well, your friend sure left you in a good fix, didn't he?
What do you mean?
Well, looks like you're going to have to go this route by yourself.
How do you figure that?
You got the tools, you got a record. You were in the vicinity just before the safe was burned. You look real good for it.
Well, I ain't going to take it alone.
Well, you haven't got much choice.
Well, what happens if I help you get the rest of them?
It'll be marked down that way.
Is that all you can do?
That's all.
How much if I help you break the gang?
That's all we can do.
Well, one thing you got to understand.
What's that?
I had nothing to do with the jobs myself. I just heard a few rumbles. You got to know I wasn't in on it.
What have you heard?
Well, there's 3 guys. They're from the east. They've been working out here about 6 weeks. Real heavy fellas.
Who are they?
I don't know him. The only one I ever saw was Shorty, and I'm not too sure he's in on it.
You know where we can pick him up?
No, like I said, I just heard a few rumbles.
All right, how about this Shorty? Has he got a record?
I don't know. He might have.
You ever say anything about doing time?
No, not so I can hear.
How long you known him?
About 3 months. I met him right after I got out of queue.
Where'd you meet him?
A bar downtown. We got to talking one night, and after that, I'd see him around here and there. And I never got to know him real well.
Just well enough for him to give you a suitcase full of burglar tools, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
And you didn't know what was in the case?
No, I didn't look. I didn't figure it was any of my business.
That's easy to buy, isn't it?
I can't help it. That's the way it is.
How much do you know about how the gang works?
Not much. Rumble is that they case a place for a couple of days, figure out when's the best time to hit it, and walk in and burn the safe.
They use a car?
I don't know. I guess they do.
Does Shorty have a car?
I don't know. I never saw him with one. He never mentioned it.
You ever mention where he lived?
No, not to me. I figure it's over on the east side, though.
How you figure that?
Well, just the way he talked. Nothing definite, but just the idea.
You look at some mugs and tell us if you see this shorty?
Well, sure. I'd like to see you get him, leaving me to stand for a thing like this all by myself.
Anything else you can tell us about the gang?
No, that's about it.
Okay, let's look at the mugs.
Well, how about it? I still got to go to jail?
Well, you still haven't convinced us you're clean.
Well, I told you everything I know.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Look, I go nuts in a cell.
You should have thought of that before.
Well, I can give you guys a lot of help if I'm on the outside.
You haven't given us much here.
Well, maybe I can.
All right, go ahead.
I can tell you when they're going to pull the next job.
We continued to talk to Otto Bronson. He told us that he'd heard the gang was planning to rob the safe of a large chain grocery store in the southern part of the city. He gave us the date and the time that the operation was expected to take place, but he was unable to give us the exact details of how the burglary would be committed. The suspect couldn't tell us whether a car would be used or how the store would be approached. He was unable to give us a description of the other two men in the operation, but he did give us a description of Shorty. We ran the name through the moniker file in R&I. We got back 285 possibles and had the mug shots on the suspects pulled. These were shown to Bronson, but he failed to make an identification. We showed him our mug files on known burglary suspects, but he again failed to come up with an identification. The burglary tools were booked as evidence, and then Frank and I talked with Captain Wisdom. It was agreed that it might be better to release Bronson and have him followed. 8:31 p.m. The suspect was released and placed under constant surveillance. The date Bronson had given us for the next burglary was the following Saturday, August 14th. Frank and I made arrangements to place a stakeout on the store. We checked the store and found that there were two entrances, one off the parking lot to one side of the building and one on the street. We took up our position so that both doors could be seen. The area was placed under a Code 5 call so that the stakeout would not be burned. Frank and I waited. 10 p.m., 11, no sign of the burglars. Midnight came and went. At 5:30 a.m., the stakeout was called off, and Frank got to a phone.
Yeah, uh-huh. When was that? Yeah? Okay, we'll be right in. Joe?
Yeah, anything?
Yeah, they lost the tail on Bronson.
At approximately 10:30 Saturday night, Otto Bronson had gone into a theater on South Spring Street. The officer following had entered, but had lost the suspect in the darkness. The next morning, Sunday, August 15th, we got a report that Bronson had turned up at his rooming house at 7:45 a.m. I got a call from the business office with this information, and at 8:20 I picked up Frank and we drove over to see Bronson.
Who's there?
It's Friday.
Oh, just a minute. Hi. Come on in. Well, you guys are up early this morning. How'd it turn out last night?
What are you trying to pull, Bronson?
What do you mean?
You know what we're talking about. Nothing happened last night.
Hey, you mean they didn't break into the place?
That's it.
I can't understand that. From what I heard, they had it all cased.
Where were you last night?
Well, you figure I had something to do with it, huh?
We just asked you where you were.
Oh, what's the matter? Hey, the tail you had on me get lost?
We're waiting for an answer, Bronson.
I went to a movie and then came on home.
You came right home after the picture, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Right home.
How come it took you so long?
Now, what's that mean?
You didn't get home until this morning, did you?
You guys are pretty thorough, aren't you?
Where were you?
All right, I stopped and saw a friend. We got to drinking. Forgot all about time. That makes me a pigeon for you.
Come on, Bronson. Let's go downtown.
What for? I haven't done anything.
You gave us wrong information about last night.
Well, that's not my fault. I'm not running with the guys. I told you what I heard. Now, it's not my beef that it didn't work out. From what I knew, that was the way it was going to be.
All right, let's go.
Well, now, just a minute. Look, we can work this out, huh?
I'm afraid not.
I leveled with you guys. I'm not giving you a snow job. That's the way it is. Look, you got nothing on me. If you had, you wouldn't have let me go before. Now that I think about it, I don't like the idea of the tail on me. What are you guys going to prove with that? The way you act, it's no wonder you get no cooperation from anybody. It's no wonder at all.
All right, now you've made your point. Let's go downtown.
Yeah, who is it?
Mr. Bronson, it's me, Kelly.
It's a landlord. Yeah, what is it?
You're Mr. Friday here?
Yeah, I'm Friday.
Phone call for you. You can get it here in the hall.
Thanks.
You get it here.
Thank you. This Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When? Right. We'll be right there. Thanks a lot. Frank?
Yeah?
It's the business office. We got to leave.
Yeah?
You called it, Bronson. They worked last night, all right?
See, I told you.
Yeah, we staked out in South L.A.
So?
They hit in West L.A.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield is best for you. Chesterfield Regular or Chesterfield King Size, which contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. And always remember this. Chesterfield is first to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Just as Chesterfield has been first to name its ingredients, the ingredients that make the best possible smoke. Enjoy your smoking. Change to Chesterfield. Much milder with an extraordinarily good taste. The best for you.
9:15 a.m. Frank and I contacted the West Los Angeles detectives and drove out to the scene of the latest burglary. It was a large chain grocery store. The thieves had burned into the safe, and the M.O. was the same as in the other burglaries. All the contents of the safe worth anything had been removed. The crews from the crime lab and Leighton Prince had already finished their investigation and had gone back to go over their findings. Frank and I talked to the manager of the store, Mr. Charles Gleason.
Well, let me see, Sergeant. The first I knew about it was when they called me to say that the safe had been robbed.
Mm-hmm. Any idea how much was taken?
Well, I'd just be guessing with the officers working around here. I didn't get a chance to check it yet, but I'd say about $5,000 or $6,000. The weekend and all, we'd done a pretty good business, and I didn't get a chance to get to the bank. I had all that money in the safe. Of course, I'll have to check the books to tell you exactly how much they took, but like I said, it was probably $5,000 or $6,000.
Do you have a burglar alarm system in the store, Mr. Gleason?
I beg your pardon?
I said, do you have a burglar alarm system in the store?
Yes, and that's a funny thing. I can't understand why it didn't work. The officers who were here from your crime lab, is that it?
Yeah, that's right, sir.
Well, they said that evidently it had been turned off somehow. I don't understand it, but that's what they said.
I see. I wonder if you could give us a list of your employees.
Well, yes, certainly, but you don't think that any of them had anything to do with this, do you?
Well, they've all got to be checked out, sir. Can you give us the list?
Oh. Well, yes, I can. I guess that's right, but I'm sure that none of them were involved.
Well, Mr. Gleason, have you noticed anyone hanging around the store, anyone that might have looked suspicious to you that you can remember?
It'd be awfully hard to say. We do a lot of business with all the people who come in and out. It's kind of hard to say.
Yes, sir, we understand. But could you remember, was there anyone who attracted your attention? Maybe someone unusual, somebody loitering in the neighborhood, maybe around the store?
No, sir, not that I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything that was taken from the safe that might give us a lead, something that might not ordinarily be in there, something that you could identify easily?
No, I don't think so, just the money. Of course, there were several checks.
What'd you say?
Checks that we cashed for the customers. They might have totaled $500. I can give you a list of them. We have them photographed if you want copies of them.
Yes, sir, that'd be a big help.
Oh, officers, there was one more thing.
Yes, sir, what was that?
Well, you know how people lose things.
Yes, sir.
A couple of days ago, we found a watch. It looked expensive. We found it in the back of the store. That was in the safe, too. Everything's gone. Must have taken that, too. It isn't there now.
Well, can you give us a description of the watch?
Yes, I can. I noticed it because, well, to be honest, I was kind of hoping that nobody would claim it. You keep things like that around here for a couple of days and then turn them in to you. I'd like to have had that one myself. Certina, it was a gold case with a white face, only had a few numbers. You know, some of the spots were just the little gold spots.
Yeah, I mean the spots were...
The numbers, the little gold spots.
I know what you mean, sir.
Well, this one had a gold band, and it was one that was a kind of a chain thing, not an expansion band. You know, the chain, the gold chain?
Yes, sir. Would you know the watch if you saw it again?
Oh, sure. I looked at it enough. And then there was that scratch on the crystal, too.
Sir?
Well, right over the number 2, there was a scratch. I can show you right here on my watch. You see right there, a little scratch?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of went off at an angle. It was real easy to spot.
Yes, sir, I understand.
You know, it's a funny thing, you officers being here. There's a friend of mine once. Well, I'd just soon not mention his name if you don't mind, because he was innocent, you know, but it looked bad. I was kind of worried about it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And these officers came out to his house, just took the place apart. It was all right. It was perfectly legal. They had a search warrant.
What'd they come out for?
Well, they thought he was mixed up in a robbery gang.
Oh.
I don't know how they ever thought it, but it looked suspicious, I guess. He was seen with some characters that were, well, not very nice. If they came out to his house, took the whole place apart. You never saw such a mess in your life. Ripped up the mattresses, took down ruined the picture. A beautiful picture. End of the trail. You know, the one with the Indian...
Yes, sir.
The spear going down like that?
Yes, sir.
Took that apart. The whole picture just fell apart. They never could get it back together again. I don't know whether they can get another one or not.
They
Darndest
find
mess you
anything?
ever saw, huh?
I say, did they find anything? The money?
Yeah, they did. They found a fountain pen his wife had lost 2 years ago. Had her initials on it.
Yes, sir. Well, is there anything else you can think of that would help us here?
No, not that I can figure.
Well, if you do remember anything, sir, here's our card. We'd certainly appreciate a call.
Frank Smith. Just ask for you, huh?
Yes, sir, and if we're not there, just leave a message and we'll get in touch with you.
All right, I'll do that.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gleason.
You bet. I sure hope you catch the fellas that are doing that.
Yes, sir, so do we.
Guess you've been after him quite a while now, huh?
Yes, sir, we have.
What the papers say, this makes number 13 for him. Bad number 13, kind of unlucky.
No worse than number 1. Frank and I went back to the city hall and completed our crime report. We contacted the crime lab and latent prints and found that they'd come up with no physical evidence at the scene. From the M.O., it could be definitely established that they were the same suspects we were after. We obtained a list of the employees of the store and checked them out. We came up with no new leads. A list of the checks that had been taken from the safe were given to forgery detail. Frank and I went to Otto Bronson's rooming house and brought him down to the city hall for questioning.
Maybe if you guys had spent a little more time doing your job and less time bothering me, you'd end up catching those fellas.
Don't worry about it, Bronson. We'll get them. We'd like to go over what you did last night again.
I told you
Well,
once.
tell us again, will you?
All right. Like I said, I had dinner around 8, maybe 8:30.
Where'd you eat?
A place over in Springs.
See anybody you knew?
No, I don't think I did.
Where'd you go then?
I went to a movie, a place on 7th.
See anybody you knew there?
No.
Well, then you'd have a tough time proving where you were, wouldn't
Not all the way. You had a tail on me. Most of this you know already.
you? All right, what'd you do after you left the movie?
I told you that. I went over to see a friend.
Yeah, where's he live?
A hotel on 5th.
What's his name?
Oh, look, I don't want to see him dragged into this.
If he's clean, he's got nothing to worry about, huh?
Yeah, sure, but you guys go over and talk to him. It's a lot of embarrassment for him, and I just don't want it.
All right, let's go.
Oh, no. You going to book me?
That's it.
I told you what being in a cell does to me.
You should have thought about that before.
All right, I'll tell you who he is.
Well, go ahead.
His name's Anderson, Mark Anderson.
You ever fallen?
No, he's clean.
Sure about that?
Yeah. Now, I suppose you want to go over and talk to him, huh?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
You're still going to book me?
We haven't any choice.
Look, I told you what I know, Sergeant. I told you everything. I can't help it if I was wrong. Look, it's no crime to make a mistake, is it? I never read about no law that says you can't make a mistake.
Well, why don't you tell us the truth about what you know about these burglaries,
I
then?
told you.
What you told us we can't buy.
Well, that's tough, fella, but that's the way it is. Now, I told you what I know. There isn't any more. Now, if you want, go on. Check with Mark Anderson. He'll tell you I was with him all night. He'll tell you. I don't want no trouble, you guys. He'll tell you, and that's the truth. Really, I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, we've heard that before. 6:40 p.m. We booked Otto Bronson at the main jail on suspicion of burglary. Before he was put in his cell, we got the address of Mark Anderson. After we'd finished with the booking, Frank and I drove over to the hotel on 5th Street. Anderson was registered in room 812. The desk clerk told us that Anderson was in his room. He was unable to tell us much about Anderson because, as he explained, he'd only worked at the hotel for a week and hadn't seen much of him. We went upstairs and knocked at the door.
Yeah?
You Mark Anderson?
That's right. Who are you?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to you.
Sure, come on in.
It's my partner, Frank Smith.
Anderson. What do you want to see me about?
You know a fellow named Bronson, Otto Bronson?
Yeah, sure. I know Otto.
When'd you see him last?
Hey, what's this all about anyway? Otto done something?
Just a routine investigation, Anderson. When was the last time you saw Bronson?
Routine, huh?
That's right.
I saw him last night.
Where'd you see him?
Here. He came up and sat around, killed a bottle, talked it up.
Mm-hmm. What time did you leave here?
Must have been about 7:30 this morning, something like that.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure. Glad to help out whenever I can. Otto isn't in any trouble, is he?
Like we said, it's just routine.
Mm-hmm. Well, anything more I can do to help out, you let me know.
Yeah, we'll do that.
You leaving right away?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be getting back to the office.
Well, I'll get my coat and walk down with you. I got a date in 15 minutes. Gonna have to romp
It's a
on
nice
her.
watch you got there.
Yeah, it's new.
Let me take a look at it, will you?
Well, it's just a watch. If you don't mind, I like to get going.
Let me see the watch.
Sure, no reason you can't. Here.
You notice this scratch on the crystal here?
Hmm. I never saw that before. Guess I'll have to take it back and get another one.
Let me see it, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you buy this watch?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, jewelers down the street.
You get a receipt for it?
No, I didn't. I know the guy. I didn't figure I'd need one.
Why don't we take a look through your room?
Why? What are you looking for?
Just like to take a look.
You got a search warrant?
No, we can get one if we have to.
Well, then you better go get one. I'm not having any cops looking through my stuff.
Frank?
Yeah.
I told you to get a warrant. You got no right to look in there.
Something in the closet you don't figure we should see.
No,
is
it's
it?
not that. It's just...
Well, then there's no problem, is there?
Joe,
Yeah.
a couple of suitcases.
You want to bring them out?
Yeah. Here they are. This one's kind of heavy. It feels like there's some sort of tools in it.
And open it up.
Wait a minute. You got the key for this one, Anderson?
There's nothing in there for you.
We'll figure that, huh?
Joe, looks like this other one's open.
Now, about this, Anderson. Money here and these checks.
Watch, Joe.
All right, Anderson. All right, come on, get up. Get up.
I'll shake him, Joe. Yeah, he's clean.
Stand still. All right, Anderson, let's go.
Otto told you, didn't he? A lousy little sneak. He told you. I never did trust him. I kept telling Shorty. I kept telling him we shouldn't trust him.
Who's Shorty?
Shorty Miller.
Want to tell us where we can find him?
Sure, I got nothing to lose. Lousy little Otto.
Just the three of you in on the job?
Yeah, that's all. Otto, Shorty, and me, just the three of us. Him and his big ideas. How he had it all fixed up when you tagged him. How he was going to get us in the clear. Don't worry, he said. He'd take care of everything. Lousy liar. He'd fix it for us. That's real funny.
Shouldn't be.
What?
He fixed it.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 14th, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. I've been pleased to see how many of you king-size smokers have been changing to Chesterfield. It's just as I've been telling you. King-size Chesterfields contain tobaccos of better quality than any other king-size cigarette. Now, either way you like them, regular or king-size, Chesterfields have a better taste, and they're really milder.
Otto N. Bronson, Mark A. Anderson, and Samuel R. Miller were tried and found guilty of 9 counts of burglary with explosives. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary with explosives is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 10, nor more than 40 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Perrin, Stacey Harris. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, wherever and whenever people need help, the Red Cross answers the call. When a flood-stricken family needs shelter, when a crippled child must learn to walk and play, and when a wounded soldier needs blood, the Red Cross is always there. And now the Red Cross needs your help. To keep up their many services this year, $93 million is needed. So when the Red Cross volunteer calls on you, please answer the call and give generously.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. You get a call that a large market has been held up. You have a good description of the thief. Your job? Get him.
Years ahead of them all. Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading cigarettes is a revealing story. Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest, 15% higher than its nearest competitor, and Chesterfield quality 31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Yes, Chesterfield is first with premium quality in both regular and king size. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like that?
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, March 10th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch at a robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:02 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Joe?
Yeah, Frank. It's really coming down, isn't it?
Yeah, pouring out in the valley.
That so?
Yeah, keeps coming down like this, going to cause a lot of trouble. Sure makes Faye, man.
Yeah, how's that?
Well, it gets to raining like this, and she begins to think about the house. You know, doing something about it, changing stuff around.
That so?
Spent the whole day yesterday moving furniture. Finally got it all set just before dinner. Looked pretty good, too.
What happened?
Well, we got through dinner and all went in to look at television.
Yeah.
The way she had the furniture, none of us could see a thing. The chairs were either so close you couldn't see or else they were way across the room.
No, well, you're not supposed to get too close, are you, anyway?
Yeah, but Joe, we only got a 10-inch screen. We got one of those big magnifiers on it, and if you get to one side, everybody looks like they got the mumps. Had to move all the stuff back the way it was.
It's a hot shot. I'll get it. All right, get your coat. We got one to roll on.
What is it?
Liquor store robbery. 8:12 a.m. We arrived at the scene of the holdup. It was a large liquor grocery store at the corner of San Marino Avenue and 6th Streets. A radio unit was already there. Frank and I checked with him, and then we talked with the victim, a Mr. Henry Alden.
I was just standing there at the counter. This old guy came in, pulled a gun, told me he wanted the money. I gave it to him.
Uh-huh. He said in the phone that he was elderly. Is that right?
Yeah, old guy. Must have been about 65 or 70. Real bum.
How do you mean?
Well, the way he was dressed, you know. Old clothes, real seedy.
Uh-huh. What if you tell us just what happened?
Well, sure. Well, it was about 8 this morning. I opened up, and I was there making out the deposit slip for the bank. Guy walked in the back door and pulled his gun. Told me he wanted the money.
Uh-huh.
Well, like I said, I gave it to him. And he told me to get into the closet back there. Told me to lie down on the floor. Well, I did. And he had that gun pointed right at my head. I did like he told me.
I see. What happened then?
Well, he walked over to the door and flipped the lock on it a couple of times, you know, to make sure it worked.
Yeah.
And then he figured it was okay, and he told me not to make any noise for 5 minutes. And he locked the door and left. That's it. Took all the money.
How much money did he take, would you know?
Yeah, to the penny. I just finished adding it up. Just a minute.
All right.
I got the figures on the machine. Tell you right away. That is $5,200.52. That's it exactly.
You said the guy came in the back door, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, were you open? I mean, was the store open for business?
No, we weren't. You see, I usually don't open before 8:30. Leave the back door open, though, for deliveries, bread, milk, stuff like that.
Uh-huh. Wonder if you could give us a description of the man.
Well, sure, like I said, he was old. Say around 70, right in there.
Uh-huh. About how tall was he?
I'd say maybe 5'7", not much more than that.
How much did he weigh, would you know?
Not much, maybe 125.
How about his complexion?
Real tan, like he'd been out in the sun a lot. Face was all wrinkled.
How about the color of his eyes?
Blue, real blue.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about his clothes?
A real bum. Had on this old overcoat, brown, all frayed, ragged around the sleeves. Had a patch on the right elbow. Patch looked like it was kind of dark serge material.
Was he wearing a hat?
Yeah, blue, all beat up. You could see the dirt around the brim.
Mm-hmm. How about his shirt and trousers?
Blue striped shirt and old kind of brown pants, no press. Looked like he was getting ready to jump in them. Real seedy.
Yes, sir. Did he wear glasses?
No, he didn't.
Was he clean-shaven, or did he wear a mustache?
Well, he had about a 4 or 5 day old growth of beard, white.
I see. Did he have any marks or scars that you could see?
No, nothing like that, at least not that I could see.
How about the gun? Was it a revolver or an automatic?
Well, it looked like an automatic. Might have been a 45. I didn't look too close at that.
Yeah. Did he have any sort of an accent when he talked to you?
No, nothing like that.
All right, Mr. Alden. Joe, I'll get the description out.
Right, thanks. Mr. Alden, did the man say anything to you that might help identify him?
No, not that I can think of. He kept telling me that he was real sorry he had to do this. Said, I'm really sorry, but I have to have the money. I have to. Kept asking me if I understood. I told him no. He said that someday I would. Real weird. Kept apologizing while he robbed me.
I see. You the owner here, are you?
No, I'm just a manager. The owner's Mr. Wood. He's going to be real mad when he hears about this. Second time in 3 months we've been held up. Getting a little tiring. A couple more times the insurance company isn't going to stand for it.
Yes, sir. Do you usually have that much money in the store?
Well, most of the weekends, yeah. You see, a lot of our stuff is pretty expensive. This is about the only store in the neighborhood that's open over Sunday. We get a lot of trade. Weekend business usually runs between $3,000 and $5,000.
Mm-hmm. About how many employees are there in the store?
3 all told. We stay open until 2:30 in the morning. I come in the morning and work until noon. Hank comes in then. There's 2 of us until 6, and John comes in. He works on through. Once in a while, Mr. Wood comes in himself when we get busy.
Uh-huh. Wonder if I could have their names and addresses.
Oh, sure. They weren't involved in it, I'm sure of that.
Well, we have to check them out anyway, Mr. Alden.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I tell you, he knew what he was doing, the way he moved. The way he knew just when to come in. This fellow's done that sort of thing before. Trying to say he was sorry about taking the money. He wasn't fooling anybody. No, sir, not a soul. Real bum, seedy, you know?
Yes, sir.
All that baloney about how he had to have the money wasn't any other way. He wasn't sorry, not at all.
Yeah, well, he probably will be. 9:30 a.m., Frank and I started a canvass of the immediate vicinity. None of the store owners in the area had seen anyone answering the description of the holdup man. None of them had seen any suspicious cars in the area. We asked the liquor store manager to go with us to the city hall to look at the mug books. He called the store owner, and when he arrived, we drove downtown. The victim went through the mug books on known holdup men, but failed to make an identification. A local and an APB were gotten out on the suspect. We asked the stats office to make a run on the MO used, and they came back with 14 possibles. It took us 2 days to check them out. They led us nowhere. The papers caught on to the story, and letters began to pour in with advice and tips. On Monday, March 17th, a full week after the robbery, Frank and I had lunch and checked back into the office.
See the afternoon papers, Joe?
Yeah, pretty funny, huh?
Yeah, they're sure taking up the story. Everybody got a different idea who the old guy is and why he did it. Have you read some of the stories?
Yeah, sure. The only thing is, a lot of people seem to think the old guy's a real Robin Hood. Now, that's all right, but they forget that he walked in that store with a gun. Wasn't anybody to say that he wouldn't have pulled the trigger if somebody got in his way.
Yeah. Should be glad when we get him, find out what it's all about.
I get it. Robbery Friday. Yes, ma'am, it is. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, we haven't caught him yet. What was that? Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. All right, would you give me that address again? Yes, I have it. Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you. There's another one.
What's that?
Landlady runs a place out on 9th Street.
Yeah.
Says she's got a tenant that she's sure is the old fellow we're looking for.
How come?
Says all the old guy does is stay up in his room. The other day, the landlady's daughter went upstairs for something. Tenant chased her down the stairs, yelling at her to stay away from his room, all that sort of thing. He was tired of people not respecting his rights, the rights of an old man, something like that. I couldn't get it all on the phone. Description she gave him pretty much matches the one we got.
What do you figure?
Well, we got no choice. We'll check it out. 1:58 p.m. Frank and I got to the rooming house on 9th Street. It was a large 4-story building. We talked to the landlady, and she gave us what information she could. She told us that the tenant's name was Roger Dietrich. She told us that he'd lived in the building for the past 8 years. She went on to tell us that he had some sort of a private income and that he rarely left his room. The landlady explained that earlier the same morning, her 11-year-old daughter had gone to the attic to get some old newspapers, and that on the way she'd run into Mr. Dietrich. The tenant had yelled at her and told her that as long as he was paying rent on the room, he wouldn't have anybody snooping around. We checked and found that he got no mail except the single letter a month with the income check. 2:30 p.m. Frank and I went up to the 4th floor and knocked at the door. You want to try it again?
Yeah.
Go away! I don't want any. Go away.
Mr. Dietrich?
Who is it?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Just a minute.
Who'd you say you were?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
What are your names?
My name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Uh-huh. I guess it's all right. Come in.
Thank you, sir.
Well, guess it's about that thing this morning, huh?
Sir?
Why, you don't have to play cagey with me. I know that she called you, the old busybody. That brat kid of hers is just like her. He's always snooping. Well, there wasn't anything to it. The kid come up here and was snooping around trying to find out what I was doing. I'm not ready yet.
Well, what do you mean, sir, not ready?
No, the book's not finished yet. It will be in another year. And the whole world can see it. Maybe mend their ways. Give them something to hope to avoid what's coming.
Well, sir, that's not why we're here.
Don't lie to me. I know all about you. I know that you'd be around. You're trying to stop me. I knew it. I knew it all the time. You see that stack of magazines over there?
Yeah?
Every copy of Life magazine ever printed, right from the first. I keep track, you know. I use it for research.
Well, I don't quite understand, Mr. Dietrich.
That's from my book.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be in 5 volumes called The Evils of the Machine Age and Its Effect on Mankind. 5 volumes, yes, sir, 5 volumes. Got the first 4 finished. Working on the last one now. That's how I knew you were coming. I worked it out on the charts. Mm-hmm.
Well, we'd like to talk to you about what you were doing a week ago, sir.
Oh, you would? Oh, well. Well, yes, I figured on that. I knew that you'd be checking me. I knew it. I saw it in the chart. I'm getting close now. Well, it's going to sit up and take notice. Sit right up.
Yes, sir. Did you go out last Monday?
Monday? Well,
yes.
Yes. I went out to get some supplies. I got them to come right back.
Would you tell us what time of day that was?
Oh, night, yes. I always go out at night.
Yes, sir. Where'd you get these? What are these, supplies?
Well, that's a little place down the street. I always buy things there. Very nice, very nice.
Yes, sir. And the man down there would be able to tell us if you were there, wouldn't he?
Oh, sure, yes. Him and me had a talk about my book. I was really interested. We talk all the time. I just finished volume 4, you know, about what's going to happen if the machine is allowed to continue. Oh, it's going to be terrible.
I beg your pardon?
The way the world's going. All these atom bombs. Now the hydrogen bomb. Going to blow the world right away. Even if they stop that, things aren't going to be the same. They're all going to be different.
All right.
You just betcha. You know what kids are going to look like 1,000 years from now?
Well, sir, I imagine pretty much the same way they do now, huh?
Yes, sir, and that's just where you're wrong. Check out the picture right here. That's volume 4. You know, finish volume 4. I'll get it. There you are. See? I drew it up myself.
Yeah. Well, what is it?
Well, you see, that's the way we're all going to look. You see there? See?
Yeah.
That large head, all brains, little bitty legs. That's from that we won't be doing any walking, you see, just riding all the time. One great big eye right in the middle of the head, and the right arm fit only for eating breakfast food that makes noises and turning on the television sets, see?
Oh.
Clever. Yes, sir. That's what the chart says we're going to look like if we all eat atom bombs.
Yes, sir. I wonder if you'd mind coming downtown with us.
In an automobile?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm afraid not. You see, I don't believe in them. They're not going to last, you see.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Dietrich, but we have to ask you to go with us.
Police business, huh?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Well, I don't like it, but I guess I got no choice. That right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Well, all right. That way. Might as well ride an automobile. Won't be around long, you know. They'll just fade right out of existence. Maybe that's going to happen in my book.
Uh-huh.
Volume 5.
3:01 p.m. We drove Roger Dietrich down to the city hall and checked him through R&I. We found no record on him. We got in touch with the holdup victim, Henry Alden, and asked him to come down to the city hall to see if he could identify the suspect. He got to the robbery squad room at 4:15 p.m.
No, I'm sure of it. That's not the guy.
Now, what's all this about, anyway? What are you officers trying to do?
Well, it's all right, Mr. Dietrich. We're just conducting a routine investigation. It's all right now.
Oh, it is, huh?
Yes, sir. We can take you home now if you like.
In that police car?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how about this fella? He going too?
No, sir.
Oh, well, now, maybe I'll do just that. Would you mind dropping me off at Pershing Square? I'd like to listen to a speech. A friend of mine's making it this afternoon. Brilliant, man. Oh, my. He's already written 12 books. All on odds.
Sir?
ODDS, odds. Like, what are the chances of a comet falling on your house? Or what are the chances of a certain horse winning the Kentucky Derby? All things like that, you know. Brilliant man.
Yes, sir.
He's dead broke.
Is that right?
Yep. Spends all his money on research.
I get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, Barnes. Uh-huh. Yeah. When'd you pick him up? Yeah. All right. No, we'll be right over.
Anything?
Yeah, Barnes over at the main jail says they got a drunk over there who's doing a lot of bragging.
What about?
Heisting the liquor store for $5,200. 4:30 p.m. We had Roger Dietrich taken to his home, and then Frank and I went over to the main jail. We talked to Officer Phil Barnes. He told us that an Arnold Jefferson had been picked up and booked for LAMC 4127A on the previous day. Barnes went on to say that this was Jefferson's 42nd arrest on drunk charges. We had the suspect brought to the interview room, and we talked to him.
All right, Jefferson. Now, what's all this about you holding up a liquor store?
What do you know about it?
You matched the description of the man who committed the robbery. The clothes there that you're wearing are like the ones the victim described. Now, how about it?
You figure you can prove it without me telling you?
Yeah, if Alden identifies you, we can.
Alden?
He's the man who was robbed.
He's outside now. We want him to take a look at you.
That won't be necessary. You got the right man.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Chesterfield is best for you. Listen to this report. It's a report never before made about a cigarette.
Smoked day after day by a group of people smoking from 10 to 40 cigarettes a day for a full year. Here's Chesterfield's record. A medical specialist giving this group thorough examinations every 2 months for a full year reports no adverse effects to their nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like that? You'll find Chesterfield's best for you. They're much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste. And for your pocketbook, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
Chesterfield, years ahead of them all.
We had the victim, Henry Alden, look at the suspect, Arnold Jefferson. He identified him positively as the man who had held up the liquor store. We took Jefferson back to the city hall and checked him through R&I. He had no felony record. 7:30 p.m. We took him to the interrogation room.
I knew you'd get me. Knew it all the time.
Is that right?
Sure. I knew it even before I held up the store. You know, I didn't really want to do it. You know, I really meant it when I told him I was sorry about doing it. Really meant it.
Mm-hmm.
Guess maybe you find that kind of hard to believe.
Well, suppose you tell us about it, huh?
Yeah. I guess the best way would be to start from the beginning, huh?
Yeah.
First thing you should understand is I think basically that I'm an honest man. All my life I've never cheated anyone or taken anything that didn't belong to me. I've tried to live pretty much by the golden rule.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes, maybe lots of times, it'd be a little hard to do, but I did my best.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was born in the Middle West. It's a tiny little town. You probably never heard of it. It isn't on most of the map. Went to school there through the 8th grade. Then I decided that I wanted to see the rest of the country. Worked my way through every one of the 48, every one of them.
Uh-huh.
Did a lot of things, met a lot of people.
Is that right?
Well, all that time,
All my life, I never did anything real big. Nothing that I could ever tell anybody about and be proud. Nothing to tell people about.
Yes, sir.
I'm 72 years old now. That's a long time to live and never do anything big. Long time.
Mm-hmm.
Came downtown one day, sat in the plaza in the sun. Met some real nice people. People like me, people without much reason. Got to coming down every day, sitting and talking, exchanging ideas. Found a lot of good friends. Most of them were alone. And I guess being alone made us members of the same club. Got to be sort of a lodge. 17 of us. Used to meet, talk about things, the way the world was going, how things look for the future, all things like that. Friends.
Yes, sir. How'd you get along all this time? How'd you live?
Oh, I get a little pension from the state, enough to get along on. I don't need much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one day I got to thinking about how I didn't really have anything big to remember. That's when I decided.
You mean on the robbery?
Yep. Decided that if I could get my hands on a lot of money, a lot of it all at once, I could have something.
Yeah?
So I started to figure. First off, I had to figure what kind of a store to rob. Had to be one where I could get enough money. Thought about it quite a while. When I had that figured, I picked out the store. And then I, cased. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I cased the store. Figured how I'd do it. Then I figured that I'd have to have a gun.
Yeah.
Got one of those little plastic ones. Bought the dime store, fixed it up with shoe black. Couldn't hurt anybody, just plastic. Looked real, but couldn't hurt anyone.
Of course, the victim wouldn't know that, would he?
Yeah, I thought considerable about that. Worried about it a lot. About how if there was any trouble, it'd make it hard with just a plastic gun. Oh, not that I wanted to hurt anybody. I didn't. But I got to thinking what would happen if somebody got scared and thought it was real. Could be trouble there.
Mm-hmm.
No, now, before I go any further, I want you to know that right at this point, I knew I was doing wrong. I knew it. Knew that I'd have to go to jail for what I did. Knew it, and it didn't matter. Had to be that way.
Well, now, if you knew that, why'd you go ahead with the robbery?
Well, wasn't any other way to get the money. At least none that I could think of. And believe me, I tried to think of one.
All right, go ahead.
And I held up the place, took the money, and then I made the man get in the closet. Did that so he wouldn't try to follow me. I was sorry about it. Tried to tell him, but I don't think he really believed it. Don't think he did.
What'd you do then?
I took a bus out to the airport. Thought about taking a cab, but then I figured that I'd want to save as much money as I could so as to have it later.
Yeah.
I inquired around out there at the airport and found a place where I could rent an airplane. I paid for it in advance so there wouldn't be any trouble. Hired it to go to San Francisco. Round trip, both ways.
You hired an airplane?
Yep. Big one. Carried 18 people. That's what I needed. Real comfortable seats, 2 motors. Had a girl painted on the front. From the war, I guess.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I took the bus back to town, and I started walking around the plaza. Rounded up all 17 of my friends, whole bunch of them. Talked to them all. Guys who had been nice to me, even if there wasn't anything I could do for them. Told them to meet me at 1st and Main, right by the fountain in front of the city hall that night. Told them that I was going to throw a party. A party they'd never forget. Well, we got together that night and took a cab out to the airport. Well, as a matter of fact, we took 4 cabs. Had to show the drivers that I had the money for the tickets. Guess they thought we was going to try to get a free ride. But anyway, when I showed them the money, they drove us out. Give them a good tip. Nice fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Got on the airplane and flew up to San Francisco. Wonderful. Got into the city and then we started. Really had a time. Lasted 3 days. Wasn't anything we didn't see, nothing we didn't do. 3 days of it. Real living. Everything was on me. Paid for it all. Went to the best places, ate the best food, drank the finest wines. Really lived.
Where'd you stay when you were in San Francisco?
Hotel down on Howard. Not the richest in town, but real nice. Clean rooms.
All right, go ahead.
Well, about the time that I thought we'd stayed long enough, we all got on the plane and come back. Got in Wednesday morning. Took cabs downtown, then we all went to breakfast. Had a real whopper. Kind of a farewell for the whole party. After I settled up with the waitress, I only had $1.75 left. Gave it to her for a tip. Sure made her happy. I don't guess she makes much down there.
Yeah. Well, did any of your friends know where you'd gotten the money for this party?
No. You see, when I first got the idea, I told them that I had a real rich brother. Told him that he died and that I was his only relative, that all the money would get to me. I figured that I could sort of set things up by doing that. Seemed to work all right. None of them said anything.
Uh-huh. You remember the man you chartered the airplane from?
Oh, sure. Real nice fella. I got his card. I kept it, sort of a souvenir. I can give it to you if you want it.
Yeah, we'll have to have it. You ever done any big time?
Me? Oh, no. Just drunk arrests. Lots of them.
Yeah.
Big thing about this is that I wish there was some way to keep the boys from finding out so they wouldn't have to know. Of course, I know that I'm not going to see him again, but just the same, what are they going to think? How are they going to take this when they hear about it? I don't know. I sure was wrong, real wrong. How long will they put me in jail for, you guys know?
Well, it depends.
Depends on what?
What the court says.
Oh. Still have to go to prison, though, huh?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't got much left. Guess no matter what they say, it's going to be life for me.
Well, sir, we're not the ones to decide that.
Yes, I know. You guys been real nice. In a way, I'm glad it's over. Like I said before, I knew you'd get me. I knew it all the time, right from the beginning. Tried to figure out how it'd be when you did get me. What I'd say, how I'd act. Wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Not hard at all. One thing, though.
Yeah, what's that?
I kind of wish I hadn't done it. I really do. I keep thinking of my friends, how they're going to take it.
Yeah. You want to go?
You're going to take me back now, huh?
Yeah, I'm afraid we have to.
Going to put me back in the tank?
No, not this time.
Upstairs?
Yeah, upstairs.
That means I'll have a cell all to myself. Be nice. I'd like to be alone.
All right. You all set, Jefferson?
Yeah.
This way.
72 years and nothing to show for it. Nothing. Only one thing I can really say I did with my life.
What's that, Jefferson?
Wasted 72 years.
The story you've just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 24th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. I hope you'll remember the facts George Fenneman reported to you earlier. Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading brands. The index of good quality table, a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, showed Chesterfield quality highest, 15% higher than its nearest competitor, and Chesterfield quality 31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Now, I'd like you to try Chesterfields today. I know they're best for me. I'm sure you'll find Chesterfields are best for you.
Arnold Peter Jefferson was tried and found guilty of 1 count of robbery in the 2nd degree. He was sentenced to the state penitentiary for the term as prescribed by law. Robbery in the 2nd degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 1 year.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to thank the editors of Real Magazine for their article, High Tension on TV, in the April issue now on sale.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Ralph Moody. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A pair of hold-up men have been staging a series of robberies in your city. You have their description. You know their method of operation. Your job, get them.
Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands.
Yes, Chesterfield is first with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, September 6th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:02 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Joe, is that you?
Yeah. Did you just get in?
Yeah, a couple of minutes ago.
The last run from the staff's office come in yet?
No, I called them. They said it'd be about 10. Hey, you look kind of beat.
Yeah, I had a little trouble sleeping last night.
Huh?
Went over this thing. Someplace the guys must have made a mistake. I can't figure it.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure an angle, too. Saw the skipper this morning.
What'd he say about it?
Nothing. Asked how we were doing. I told him we had a couple of things cooking. He didn't say anything. Guess he's getting plenty of heat from the front office. His pills are getting bigger.
Stomach's giving him trouble again, I guess.
Yeah, he had some this morning. Looked big enough for a horse. I never saw such big pills, Joe. He could hardly swallow them. Purple, too.
Well, 11 jobs in 3 months. All the same M.O., all the same descriptions. None of them add up to anything we can make.
Yeah. Skipper said he had a call from the insurance company that underwrote the jewelry store they hit last Thursday.
Yeah.
Said the guy was real nasty. Said if we couldn't clean it up, he was going to the police commission to get some action that way.
Robbery Friday.
Who?
Oh, yeah, Rod. Yeah, sure, I remember. How's it going? Oh, that's good. What? Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can come right down. All right, sure. Okay, Rod, thanks. We'll be right there. Remember Rod Nealon, the guy we nailed for robbery 5 years ago?
Nealon? Yeah, I know who you mean.
He wants to see us. Says he got some information.
Yeah?
About the guys we're after. For the past 3 months, a pair of hold-up men had been victimizing the owners of large jewelry stores and supermarkets. In each case, the descriptions of the 2 suspects was the same. Suspect number 1 was described as WMA, 30 to 35 years old, red hair, tall and lean. Suspect number 2 was described as WMA, 25 to 30 years old, 5'7", 120 pounds. Victims reported that the larger of the 2 bandits had a slight stutter, but neither of them had any visible marks or scars. In each instance, the method of operation the bandits used was the same. The 2 men would enter the store at about 10 a.m. The smaller of the 2 thieves would ask to use the telephone. He'd go to the rear of the store, and there he would produce a .32 caliber automatic. The other man would pull a sawed-off shotgun, and together, the 2 of them would tape the victim's hands and feet and lock them in a rear room. Then they'd rifle the safe and leave. None of the victims could tell us if the pair used a car. Everyone concerned had been shown mug books, but they were unable to make an identification. The M.O. had been run through the staff's office, but after the possibles had been checked out, we had nothing. Communications had been gotten off to George Brereton up at CII, Sacramento. but they were unable to help us in making an identification. For 3 months, the hold-up men were able to hit where they wanted and when they wanted, and it seemed as if we were unable to stop them. All sources of information had been checked, but they netted us no new leads. 8:25 a.m., Frank and I drove over to see Rod Nealon. He worked in the small machine shop on South La Brea. He checked with the shop foreman and got permission to talk to us. He led us to a small lunch stand around the corner from the shop. We ordered a cup of coffee, and Rod told us why he'd called.
I got to reading the papers, read about these holdups, and figured maybe I could give you guys a hand.
We can use it, Rod.
You guys were pretty nice to me when I got picked up. Sort of figure I owe you a favor.
Well, what's the information you got, Rod?
Well, I was in the bar the other night. See, Friday night, place down on 3rd, having a beer.
Yeah.
Well, I sat there for a little bit, chewing up a storm with a bartender, and these 2 guys come in. Got a girl with them.
Uh-huh.
Well, the 3 of them go over to a booth, sit down, and order drinks. I didn't pay much attention to them. It's none of my business.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when they put in their order, bartender and me got kind of laughing about it.
Why is that?
Well, the 2 guys ordered bourbon, but the girl ordered one of those weird mixed things, cream de mint and cream de cocoa and chopped up ice. Real weird. Well, I looked over at her. Usually the only people who ordered things like that are young kids. I asked the bartender about it.
Yeah.
He said that's all the girl ever ordered. Said they came in all the time, steady customers.
So what makes you think the other ones were after, Rod?
Well, the way they looked and acted. 2 fellas were loaded with money, had a roll to choke a horse. Right then, I didn't think much about it. Figured maybe they were just trying to impress the girl,
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really think much about it then. On the way home, I stopped and picked up a morning paper. I read about the robberies. I noticed the descriptions you had on them. Fit the 2 guys in the bar to a T. Tall, redhead, short, dark fella. The big one even had that stutter.
You got any names on these 2 fellas?
No, I didn't hear anything. Not from them, anyway. I asked the bartender. He said the big one was called Chet and the little guy's named Vince. He didn't know much about them, just said they came in a lot and had a lot of money to spend.
Any idea where they live?
No, I don't think he knew.
How about a car? Did you see one?
No, like I said, I was there when they came in, and I left before they did. If I'd known what the bit was, I'd have stuck around and tried to get some more information for you. I didn't even figure it until I got home and saw the papers.
You heard anything around about the 2 men?
Not a thing. That's straight, too. I'm carrying a lunch bucket now. I got a job, and I keep my nose out of trouble. I had enough jail. I don't want any more of it.
Oh, that's good to hear, Rod.
I learned. No more. Tough to learn it that way, but I guess there ain't no other. Now, sir, I'm clean. I'm going to stay that way. Like I said, though, you guys were nice to me. You gave me a break. I want to help you out. Sort of say thanks.
Yeah, Rod, and we appreciate it, too. You know that.
Listen, anything I can do, I'm with you, fella.
Where is this bar?
It's a place on 3rd called Tad. It's a little joint.
Yeah, we know it.
Most of the guys come in are there for contact, trying to set something up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just it, Rod.
What do you mean?
Well, I think that if Frank and I walk into the place, somebody will make us sure we're known there. We'll burn the place, lose the 2 men.
I guess so. Well, you want me to hang around there, keep you posted, let you know what the guys are doing?
Well, that's kind of up to you, Rod.
They found out I was playing footsie with you. They'd nail me sure. You know that.
Well, we'll give you all the help we can if you want to do it.
It's going to be a little expensive sitting in there. Can't just sit without ordering something,
Yeah. So here's $10. That ought to keep you going for a while.
Yeah, it will for a while. What do you want me to find out?
Well, get an address if you can. Find out where these guys work, what they do for a living, if they own a car. Get the license number if you can. Who the girl is, where she lives. Just as much as you can,
Okay, how'll I get back to you?
Well, we'll be around. You won't have to look far.
I hope not. Those 2 guys get onto me, I got big trouble,
Well, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, Rod.
Well, I want to. You guys have helped me plenty of times. Maybe I can kind of pay you back this way. I know I don't have to do it, Joe. It was my idea. It's okay by me if you guys will stay close.
We will, Rod.
Well, let's put it this way. You guys just stay close by. I'm 37. I got 28 years to go.
Yeah.
I want to be around for that Social Security.
We got the description of the girl who'd been seen with the 2 suspects, then Frank and I drove back to the office. We checked the names Chet and Vince through the moniker files in R&I. Came up with several possibles, but they were eliminated. For the next 3 days, we kept in contact with Rod Nealon. He would report for work at 8 a.m., finish up at 5, and then after a dinner downtown, he'd spend the evening in the bar down on 3rd Street. During that time, he had no contact with the 2 men. They'd failed to make an appearance at the bar. The kickbacks from up north arrived, but we got no new leads from them. Saturday, September 10th, Frank and I met with Nealon for lunch. He told us that he hadn't seen the suspects since the night he told us about. He said that the bartender told him that they hadn't been in the place on 3rd Street. 3:16 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
Well, that went no place.
I wonder where they are.
I don't know, Joe. Nothing around town on them. Maybe they decided they were running their luck a little close, huh?
Well, it could be, but they got no reason to quit. As far as they know, they're in the clear. There's nothing to scare them off.
No. You think Rod is playing ball with us?
Well, I don't know. There's no reason not to. He came to us. We didn't go to him.
Guess he learned his lesson. Takes a lot of nerve to do what he's doing. Glad to see he's playing it straight, though.
Yeah. You want to check the book?
Yeah.
Anything there?
No, nothing. Call from Faye wants me to call her before I leave the office. There are a couple of teletypes here. Joe?
Yeah?
Here's our answer.
What?
Teletype from San Francisco. Jewelry store was heisted for $150,000.
Yeah.
2 men, one with a sawed-off shotgun.
We sent a teletype to San Francisco immediately, asking for full details on the holdup. The answer gave the M.O. that the 2 thieves had used and their descriptions. In every detail, the operation matched that of the 2 men we were looking for. We put in a call to Rod Nealon, but we found that he hadn't reported for work that day. Frank and I drove out to his apartment, but his landlady told us that she hadn't seen him since the day before. Frank and I checked the places where he ate and where he spent his time when he wasn't working. None of his friends had seen him. We spent the next 2 days looking for him. From a bartender on 7th, we heard that Rod had been in the place on Sunday, the night before, and at that time he'd been pretty drunk. The bartender said that he appeared frightened and nervous. Monday, September 12th, 5:30 p.m. Frank and I checked into the office to sign out for the day.
I'll sign us out.
All right, I'll check the box. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Well, where you been? We've been looking all over for you. We thought something had happened. What? When? Yeah. Well, take it easy, Rod. Yeah, we'll get to you. Yeah, what model? You got the license number? Just a minute. All right, go ahead. 2N3-9291. Yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll see you there. All right, be careful.
Rod?
Yeah. Says he's been trying to get a hold of us all day. Says he didn't want to leave his name. 2 suspects are back in town. Rod says they got a bankroll like Fort Knox, sporting a new car. He got the number. Better check it right away.
Well, where's he been?
Well, he said he was worried. He's been trying to stay out of sight. Said we better get the guys fast.
Yeah.
He thinks they're onto him. Our informant, Rod Nealon, told me on the phone that he'd been hiding for the last 2 days. He said that on the night the robbery suspects had gotten back into town, the bartender had let it drop to them that Rod had been asking questions. Said that he tried to call us at the office several times, but he'd found that we weren't in. He was reluctant to leave his name or a message for fear that the 2 hoodlums might in some way find out about it. Frank drove over to his apartment, but found that he wasn't there. When I'd spoken to him on the phone, he told me that he'd wait there until we could pick him up. The landlady at his place hadn't seen him and told Frank that she didn't even know that Rod was in the building. While Frank was gone, I checked the license number of the car through RDMV. They called us back to tell me that the car was registered to a Miss Dolly Keene at 18924 Elmwood Drive, Hollywood. Frank got back to the office, and we drove out to see the girl. On the apartment register, she was listed as the tenant of apartment 406. We knocked at the door to the manager's apartment and waited.
Yeah?
You the manager, ma'am?
Yeah, something I can do for you?
We're police officers. We'd like to talk to you. Here's our identification.
I see. Friday.
Yes, ma'am. It's my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do,
How do you do? I'm Barbara Townsend. If you'd like to come in and talk, might be better in the hall.
Thank you very much, Miss Townsend.
Mrs., I'm a widow woman. Husband died 7 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am.
It's all right, Miss Friday. I'm used to being a widow now. Just sit down. We can have our talk.
Thank you.
Now then, what was it you want to talk about? Not something I've done, I hope.
No, Miss Townsend. It's about one of your tenants, a Miss Dolly Keene.
Oh, that one. Might have known it.
Why did you say that, ma'am?
Oh, just because. I always knew she was going to cause trouble here. I knew it. I told Sinbad about it. Told him a lot of times.
Sinbad?
Yeah, that's him over there in the cage.
Oh, the bird, huh?
Yes, Sinbad and I talk all the time. Of course, I do most of the actual talking, but he understands. Real smart bird, real smart little fella.
Yes, ma'am. So why do you say that you knew Miss Keene would cause trouble?
Yeah, she's just the type, that's all. Always running around, gallivanting away. Her and her boyfriend. All that drinking, loud parties.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lease, or she wouldn't be here now, I tell you. A couple more parties, and I'm going to see a lawyer. See if I can't break it. The lease, I mean.
Yes, ma'am.
About this boyfriend of hers, do you happen to know his name?
No, I don't. I didn't have nothing to do with her. She's not the friendly type at all. Doesn't like birds. Told me right out loud. Sinbad heard her. Heard her say it plain as anything. He brooded about it for days. Wouldn't need it.
If you could give us a description of the man.
And saw him a couple of times. A tall man, over 6 feet, red hair. Had a kind of stutter. I never talked to him. I just heard him when they came in. My door's right near the front, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Does she have any other friends in the building, ma'am? Do you know?
Oh, no. Isn't anybody in the building likes her. Well, except that Mr. Newton on the 2nd floor. He's kind of flighty, impressed with a pretty girl, you know. But she's not friendly with anybody.
Does she have any visitors? Anyone who came to see her?
Just her boyfriend, the red-headed one. And then there was the other one. I don't think he was a friend of hers, though.
What other one's that, ma'am?
He's a little man, dark. I think he's a friend of the boyfriend. Seemed that way to me.
Any of them drive a car, would you know?
Well, I don't know about the others, but Miss Keene just got one. Brand new. 1953. Don't know where she got the money for it, but by golly, she's got the car.
Uh-huh. She work, ma'am?
I don't know. When she signed the lease, she told me that she was a designer for a clothing company out here. That's the fact. She's got mighty cushy hours. Seems to come and go whenever she pleases.
But when she get the new car, do you know?
It's a couple of days ago. She told me that she had to go out of town on some business. Wanted me to keep an eye on her apartment. She didn't have to tell me that. I'm the manager here. Of course I'm going to watch the place.
Yes, ma'am. About the car, please.
Oh, yeah. Well, she had it when she came back. Just drove up in it, smart as you please. Told me that she wanted a garage for it. Said she didn't want to leave it on the streets at night. I told her she'd just have to wait. We got 18 units here and only 10 garages. All of them are taken. I told her she'd just have to wait. She said she maybe leave it over at her sister's for a few days.
Her sister's?
Yeah, she has a sister in the neighborhood someplace.
Do you know where she lives?
No, I don't. Pretty sure it's someplace in the neighborhood, though.
Would you know her sister's name?
No. Sorry, I can't help you out there either. She's married. Don't know her married name. Miss Keene never mentioned that.
How about mail, Miss Townsend? Miss Keene get much mail?
I couldn't tell you that. They got their own keys, open their own mailboxes. I got no way of telling what they get.
I see.
Of course, I could see in through the little slots in the mailbox. She got a few letters. I couldn't tell you where they were from, though.
I see. Is she in now, would you know?
No. I mean, I don't think she's in. I haven't heard her. Usually she comes in laughing and carrying on, so I'd know if she was in. What's all this about, anyway? What's she done?
Well, we'd just like to talk to her, Mrs. Townsend.
Like that, is it?
Ma'am?
Got something secret to talk about.
No, ma'am, it's not that. It'd be better if we talked to her, that's all.
Well, I hope you get the chance to.
Beg pardon?
Well, last time I saw her, she talked about leaving town.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield is best for you. Listen to this report. It's a report never before made about a cigarette. Smoked day after day by a group of people smoking from 10 to 40 cigarettes a day for a full year, here's Chesterfield's record. A medical specialist, giving this group thorough examinations every 2 months for a full year, reports no adverse effects to their nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like that? You'll find Chesterfield's best for you. They're much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste. And for your pocketbook, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
In the company of the manager, Frank and I went through the girl's apartment. In the closets, we found clothing that indicated that she'd returned to the place. We called the office and told them that we were setting up a stakeout on the building. Frank and I went downstairs and parked the car up the street. Frank was in the front seat of the car. I stayed in the back. 8:30 p.m. There was still no sign of the girl. Frank called the office and found that our informant, Rod Nealon, was still missing. We waited. 9:30 p.m., 10, 11:30 p.m. A car answering the description of the girls pulled up in front of the apartment building.
Joe?
Yeah, I see him.
Car matches. Can you see the license?
No, not from here. 2 people in the car, a girl and a man.
Yeah.
Well, let's try it.
Right. I'll cover the other side, huh?
Right. Excuse me.
Yeah? Oh, what is it?
I'd like to see your identification, please.
Well, what for? I'm doing nothing.
Police officers like to see your ID.
I don't know what this is all about.
All right, mister, get out of the car.
I don't know what you guys are trying to prove with all this. Getting so a guy can't take his girl out anymore without cops rousing
Joe,
him.
looks like the other one in the car that just pulled up.
Yeah.
Vince, get out of here. It's the cops.
I'll get him, Joe.
All right, get your hands in back of you.
Lousy cops, you'll never get him.
Stand still.
You'll never get him. He's probably got your partner by
All
now.
right, get back in the car.
What's going on, Sheriff?
Lousy cops, they think they got us. Vince is a good shot.
All right, give me those ignition keys, lady.
What for?
Give them to me.
All right.
Now, both of you, stay in the car.
Joe, the apartment house. Over here.
How about it?
He's up there on the second floor.
All right, come on, mister, give it up.
Get away from me, cops. Get away.
Throw that gun down here. Come on, throw that gun down.
What do you figure, Joe?
I don't know, cover me, I'll go up.
Right. How about it?
I don't see him.
Stop it! Don't shoot! I give up! I give up! Don't shoot anymore, please!
All right, mister, throw that gun out here. Come on. Throw it out here.
All right. There it is. You got it. I'll give you a break.
I got it, Joe.
All right, come on, put your hands against that wall.
I'm hurt. He shot me. Now leave me alone. I'm hurt. You see that?
I'll shake him. All right. He's clean.
Call a doctor. Give me a doctor. I'll bleed to death. Don't give me a doctor.
You're not hurt that bad. Now, come on, let's go.
I'll give you a hand. Come on.
All right, come on.
What's all the shooting about? Oh. Shot him, huh?
Yes, ma'am. I better call Georgia Street, Frank. Get the other ones in the car.
Yeah, I'll stay here with this one. Frank? What's the matter? Something wrong?
Yeah, I got to get out of broadcast. They're gone. When the number 2 suspect had started firing at Frank, I handcuffed the first suspect and I went to Frank's aid. On returning to the car, we found that both suspects had escaped. The man was still handcuffed, so moving around would be difficult for him. A broadcast was gotten out to all units in the area on the 2 escaped suspects. The car they'd driven was still parked out in front of the apartment. An ambulance arrived and removed the wounded suspect to the county hospital. Before he was taken away, he gave us the names of his 2 accomplices, Chester Rayburn and Dolly Keene. We called the office and told them what had happened. Additional teams of men were sent out to help us canvass the area. Frank and I went through the personal effects of Dolly Keene. In a desk drawer, we found a telephone book, and one of the numbers in the book bore the name Sis. It gave a telephone number and an address 3 blocks from the apartment house. We got in touch with Captain Didion and informed him of the developments. Additional men from Metro Division were sent out to cover the address listed in the telephone book. Captain Didion also told us that our informant, Rod Nealon, had been found in a rooming house on 3rd Street where he'd been hiding since the 2 bandits had gotten back into town. He was placed in protective custody. Frank and I went over to the sister's apartment.
Yeah, what do you want?
Police officers. You Patricia Saxon?
Yeah, so what?
I want to look at your apartment.
What for? There's nothing here means anything to you.
Sister been here tonight?
No. Haven't seen her last couple of days.
Anyone here with you?
No.
We're going to have to look.
Yeah, maybe I don't want you to.
That's tough, lady. All right, let's shake it down, Frank.
Yeah.
There's no one here. Isn't anybody with me?
Closet in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You better stay away from there. He's got a shotgun.
Cover that side, Frank.
Yeah.
All right, Rayburn. Open the door slow and throw that gun out here. Rayburn, we'll tell you once more. We know you're in there. Now throw that gun out here.
He's not coming out, Joe.
All right, cop, here it is. I don't want no trouble, you hear? No trouble. You got the gun.
All right, come on. Get up, Rayburn, on your feet. You too, Miss Keene. Come on out of there.
Don't shoot. Please don't. We didn't mean nothing. Don't shoot. We give up.
Well, come on out of there. Keep your hands in your head there.
I'll get him.
Wasn't anything else I could do. Had to do what they tell me. Come in here with that gun and wanted something to cut those handcuffs off with. Had to do what they said.
Yeah, sure.
They'd have killed me if I didn't. I know it. They'd have killed me.
A couple of more minutes and we'd have had it made. Just a couple more minutes, that's all. That's all we needed. Though we got up north, you never got us. We'd have had it made.
One more big job, that's what you said. One more and we'd be through. Well, wise guy, where are we now?
Right where he said you'd be.
What?
You're through.
The story you've just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 18th, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Did you know that Chesterfield shows up year after year as first choice of young America? Now, that's based on a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. The reason is we're first with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield. It's a good, mild smoke with a wonderful taste.
Chester Lloyd Rayburn and Vincent Robert Parker were tried and found guilty on 9 counts of robbery in the first degree. They were sentenced to the state penitentiary for the term prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years. Lillian Keene, alias Dolly Keene, was tried and convicted of being an accessory. She received sentence as prescribed by law. Aiding a principal in a felony is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 5 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the fight against an old enemy, polio, medical research has armed us with a powerful new weapon, gamma globulin. Used soon enough, it can prevent the paralyzing effects of polio. But first, you must furnish the raw material, blood. Doctors urgently need your donation of blood to make gamma globulin. So call the Red Cross. Please don't put it off. It's too important. Call the Red Cross tomorrow and make an appointment to give blood.
Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Peggy Weber, Peter Lee. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett and Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig on NBC.